The recent revelations about Brittney Griner have sent shockwaves through the sports world, exposing unsettling truths that threaten to undermine the integrity of women's athletics and ignite a debate about fairness, legality, and biological authenticity. Known for her exceptional talent, outspoken persona, and controversial behavior, including a violent on-court incident where she elbowed Caitlin Clark and mouthed racist slurs, Brittney's actions quickly became viral, sparking outrage nationwide. However, beneath the surface of her offensive conduct lay deeper concerns about her physical and biological identity. Medical experts analyzing her skeletal structure, shoulder width, jawline, bone density, found traits more consistent with male physiology, raising questions about her claimed female status. Further evidence emerged from biomechanical analyses, injury recovery patterns, and voice assessments, all indicating her physical makeup aligned more closely with male athletes. Old Instagram stories surfaced, showing Brittney topless with her torso visible. Surprisingly, automated social media AI detection systems, designed to flag explicit content and identify biological sex, failed to classify her as female, instead recognizing her anatomy as male and allowing those images to remain online for over 100 weeks, highlighting flaws in current verification methods and raising concerns about manipulation or misclassification. The implications grew more alarming as her injury and resilience data revealed muscle mass and bone density more typical of male physiology, which meant she possessed inherent physical advantages, height, reach, strength, that could not be neutralized through training alone, giving her an unfair edge over her opponents in a way that fundamentally compromised fairness. This disparity was starkly evident in her attack on Caitlin Clark, where her hidden strength was exploited maliciously, posing serious safety risks to other female players and fueling fears that her undisclosed physical advantages could lead to injury, undermining athlete safety and trust within the league. The psychological impact on Clark and her teammates was profound, creating an atmosphere of fear, mistrust, and insecurity, especially as questions arose about how Brittney had been cleared for competition, who verified her eligibility, and what documentation was used, since the league remained silent, fueling suspicions of a cover-up. If Brittney truly was a woman, then her misrepresentation was a profound breach of integrity. If she was a man competing as a woman, her participation was inherently unfair, dangerous, and a violation of the core principles of women's sports. International concerns also intensified, considering her past legal issues in Russia, where she served time for a drug conviction, raising fears that she might have been competing under false pretenses on a global stage, risking diplomatic fallout and further damaging her reputation. Legally, her achievements, records, titles, endorsements could be challenged or invalidated if her biological status were proven false, threatening her career and the sport's credibility. The disparity in physical attributes, height, reach, muscle mass, highlighted that her success was rooted in advantages stemming from male physiology, which had been hidden or concealed, possibly through manipulation of records or misrepresentation, thus creating an uneven playing field. Experts emphasized that if her traits came from male anatomy, her assault on Clark was not just unsportsmanlike, but rooted in dangerous biological superiority, and the trauma inflicted underscored the urgent need for transparency and reform. Medical professionals advocated for comprehensive testing, chromosome analysis, hormone profiling, bone density scans, to definitively confirm her biological identity, criticizing the current verification system based on self-declarations and minimal checks as inadequate and vulnerable to deception. Critics argued that had the roles been reversed, if a white athlete with similar physical traits had been accused, public outrage would have been immediate and fierce, exposing systemic biases and double standards that favored certain athletes or demographics. The league's silence and lack of decisive action only fueled accusations of cover-up, casting doubt on the fairness of the competition and the league's integrity. International scrutiny intensified, especially given her controversial past, raising concerns about diplomatic repercussions if her participation was based on falsehoods. The stakes were enormous. If her biological status was male, her entire career, records, achievements, endorsements could be invalidated, damaging her reputation and casting doubt on every competition she had participated in. The revelations exposed a dangerous precedent, Either the need for strict, science-based biological verification to preserve fairness or the risk of opening floodgates for similar controversies across women's sports. The debate extended beyond fairness into fundamental principles of honesty, safety, and integrity, emphasizing that sports must be rooted in transparency and truth. The mounting evidence pointed toward a startling conclusion. Brittney's physical and behavioral traits align more with male physiology, making the call for rigorous, transparent investigation urgent. Questions about her eligibility, the league's screening protocols, and the integrity of competition hung in the balance, underscoring that the future of women's sports depended on confronting these uncomfortable truths rather than concealing them. If ignored, the sport's credibility risks being forever tarnished. If addressed with honesty and scientific rigor, it could lead to meaningful reforms that uphold fairness and athlete safety. Ultimately, the controversy centered on whether the league would have the courage to confront the facts, implement strict verification processes, and restore trust, or continue to sweep these issues under the rug, risking further damage to the sport's integrity. The revelations about Brittney Griner serve as a wake-up call, highlighting the necessity for transparency, fairness, and rigorous scientific standards to ensure that women's sports remain equitable, safe, and trustworthy for current and future generations.